Welcome to this another edition of Board Game Archaeology, where today we're looking at the 1976 game Campaign by Waddington, released in the heyday of board games. This one is based on the Napoleonic Wars. As you can see from the layout of the board, it's got a very simplistic overview of mainland Europe. So we have France, Prussia, Russia, Austria, Italy and Spain. These are all joined by these borders here on the card, as you can see, and with the impassable areas in between. But before we get into that, I'm going to have a quick look at some of the... This is the rules booklet that comes with the game. Very nicely produced. As you can see, very obviously based on the Napoleonic Wars. Quite a few rules in here, but once you read through them, it's pretty simple. It's about 10 pages of rules with lots and lots of examples. So yeah, 11 pages in total. Gives you an overview of the game. Very simple game to play and very fun actually. Also included in the game as well is this little booklet called the Years of Napoleon. This is a 3-page fold out with some background information on the Napoleonic Wars, the setting of the game, and also there in French as well on the other side, because obviously they are selling the game both in the UK and in France. This is quite obvious from some of the script that is on the edge of the board. You can just see here, so some of this is actually in French. You probably can't see it, it's a bit too far away. But we've got a beautifully designed board with all these really nice contemporary looking etchings on the sides of rivers and the forests and mountains and all kinds of things in the centre of this this lovely board. And as I say, we already said we have the 6 different countries: France, Prussia, Russia, Austria, Italy and Spain. You can see that I've set up this board as though we're just about to play a 4-player game or a 2-player game using 2 countries. The different colours: France in green, Prussia in green, I'll get back to that in a second, Russia in white, Austria in blue and Spain are in red. When you're playing the game, you can only play it up to 4 players. You either choose to play France or Prussia. Prussia comes into a 3-player game, so you never play France and Prussia together in the same game, which is quite an interesting choice really, since France was the main protagonist of the Napoleonic Wars anyway. Interestingly, we have some interesting colour choices here. So France are in green, I would have put those in blue personally. Russia are in white, again I would put those in green. Austria are in blue, they should really be swapped out for the white. And Spain are in red. Spain, yeah, you could argue that, you know, they have a British part of it, so I'm not so fussed about that, but it's just an interesting take on the different colours. You can also see these are the setup points. So each of the figures denote different units. So this is the infantry. These are really nicely produced pieces actually. These are the cavalry, and each side has a general, and each of these begin on their own areas here. So we have 4 infantry, 4 cavalry and a general in each of the countries. So to show you an example here is what Prussia's look like. So you have 2 infantry, 2 cavalry, 2 cavalry, 2 cavalry, and the general goes in the capital. Each country also has cities, 2 red bordered ones and 2 yellow bordered ones, and these match up with the cards that each country also has. And this comes into the game later on if these get captured, or if you capture them back from an opponent. The object of the game is either to capture all your opponent's capitals, or a number of provincial towns, the smaller ones, or capture all your opponent's troops so that the general is defeated. So a general without an army isn't a general anymore. So the game is played, each country takes their turn, and in their turn they roll the dice. Here we have 9 pips, and for each pip on the dice they can move a number of pieces. The general will move in any direction, so into any of the squares around him. That costs him 1 pip on the dice to move. He can move as many or as few as he likes. Infantry only move diagonally and can only move 1 space for 1 pip, and cavalry can move 2 spaces but only left, right, up and down. So these are like the castles in chess, whereas these are like the bishops in chess, and the general is like the queen in chess. You can use as many of your score or as little as your score as you want to move as many or as few of your pieces. Only generals can take towns by moving onto them, or capitals, again, by moving onto them. When a town is taken by a general, for instance, Zaragoza is taken here, the card is taken from the owning player's hand, and in this case you can see that Zaragoza has this cavalry symbol. Not only does the French player gain a new piece that they can put in any of the areas around the town, but the Spanish player will also lose their closest cavalry piece to Zaragoza. So it's pretty good to be capturing towns, especially the ones with the symbols in them. But how do we attack? The French general is attacking this Spanish cavalry. The Spanish cavalry has a defense of 1, the general's attack is 1. So the general needs to increase his attack value by placing another unit adjacent to the Spanish cavalry to take it out. He does this by moving in the French cavalry, so this now has an attack value of 1, 2 against a defense of 1, and the Spanish cavalry is taken off. It's that simple. However, in this example we also have a Spanish infantry supporting the Spanish cavalry. This Spanish infantry has to be neutralised before the Spanish cavalry can be taken out, because this increases the defence value of the cavalry by another 1, so this makes it 2. So the general is 1. The French can move this infantry in to then neutralise the Spanish infantry, and then move in the French cavalry to then take out the Spanish cavalry. All very simple. If a country's general is taken, in this case if the Spanish general is taken, the general and however many of his remaining armies are placed back in their recruitment areas, and now these will have to make their way back to the capital, back onto their original points like this, before they can start playing the game again. Also, the other thing you may notice is the alliance cards. The game, you can make alliances between different players by basically exchanging alliance cards. You can break these alliances at any time you like. You can also discuss between the two alliance players any tactics that you want to take on, and you can declare war and just get rid of the alliance at any time as well. Just adds another little layer to the game. Overall, this is a very fun game, very much of its time, 1970s, but the board is beautiful. It's a really nice game. We used to play quite a lot when I was a teenager, when we used to have free periods at school. Very simple to set up, very easy to remember, a little bit like playing chess. But I hope this has taken some people down memory lane. So thank you very much for watching.